Yes, no, we are open. Come on in. You must be the new knight I was told to expect from the castle. You're a lot cuter than the knights they usually send my way. You're new, aren't you? Is it really that surprising to find a lion working at a blacksmith? You know there are beast folk all over the kingdom. Plus, I have a particular attention to detail that the crown has found most valuable in their... That's right. In fact, to my knowledge, not a single casualty can be attributed to a failure in my armor design. Most often, it's people didn't wear the armor right. You will see. My work is not your typical put it on and rush out to battle type of equipment. It's a little more intricate than that, and a lot more pricey, but also far more effective. Now, before we can begin, I'm going to have to get some accurate measurements on you, and that means that... Well, you might want to close that door behind you. You're going to have to take some clothing off for me. Oh, no, nothing like that. But if I want to make sure everything fits properly, I need to know exactly how wide to make the chest plate, exactly how much range of motion you need in your shoulders, things like that that vary from person to person. You can't mass-produce custom armor, not if you want to maintain the quality that I'm known for. Perfect. Let me just pull this out, and we'll begin. Now, generally, I like to keep talking while we do this. I'm going to have to take quite a lot of measurements and very repetitively to make sure the numbers are just right. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Why did you sign up to join the Royal Guard of all places? Because of the nature of my work? Only the very elite are given access to my equipment. That's why I live in the capital, and not in one of the other and not in any of the other villages in the kingdom. Interesting. You stand by this promise that you made when you were so young. If you don't mind me asking, what is your line of reasoning there? Oh, left arm up, please. Right. Joining the Royal Guard is, first of all, not easy. Not just everyone can be accepted. Second of all, there's not as much glory in it. People generally want to make a name for themselves, not protect others. Arm down. Thank you. So, if you have joined for protecting the royal family, well, there must be a reason. Fair enough. Fewer casualties. That is true, and is, if I may say so myself, something I take extreme pride in. My armor, my work, is renowned across the world. It's partly why the royal family prefers to keep me in the capital, away from where other people could get their hands on me and my secrets. Deep breath. Because I need to have room for your lungs to expand. You don't want to be wearing armor you can't breathe in. There you go. So you joined up to fulfill a promise you made to a childhood friend who's no longer here. That is very admirable. Oh, it does raise more questions. What sort of friend would want you to protect the royal family so much that that is their final wish? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to pry. I'm just trying to make conversation. Alright, we can change the subject. Your training is... well, it would have to be finished or they wouldn't send you here. How did you do? The obstacle course, the fitness exams, you obviously passed. By how much, I wonder? You seem to be in very good shape. Well, of course I keep staring at your chest. I have to make sure I have the measurements just right. Purely professional, I assure you. Right arm up, please. Well, you know, we're right back to that raises more questions than it answers. What village are you from? If you don't mind me asking. Just curious. Ah, well known for their farming. In fact, a lot of the bread we eat here comes directly from wheat produced out in that village. But you didn't want the life of a farmer, did you? Well, obviously not if you signed up to join the military. Get out of town and avoid the curse of being trapped as a farmer for the rest of your life. Was that it? Ah, I see. I can understand that very well. Get out of the little, almost bubble you grew up in. See more of the world. Meet more people. Experience more. You never would have met a Leonin if you'd stayed in that farming village. Or at least probably would not have. Ah, yes, that would be the more acceptable term, to differentiate us from wild lions. There are some people who don't trust us beast folk, and they gladly remind us that we are perhaps a little more animalistic than they view themselves. Well, I'd say I wear it as a mark of honor. I named this shop the Lion's Den. And that way when people walk into here, I get to chuckle a little bit at the play on words. When people walk into my smithy, they are willingly walking into the Lion's Den, and they always walk out unharmed. Always. I don't make weapons. I don't have weapons, granted. I don't need to. I can protect myself just fine. But I make armor because I want to extend that protection to those who really need it. Oh, no, not at all. By the looks of you, and by the fact that you finished your training, I'm very confident you can defend yourself. But you're also at greater risk, and if there is anything I can do to help limit that risk, even in the slightest bit, I can, in my own way, push back against those stereotypes. I'm not here to harm, I'm here to protect. Not directly, more indirectly. But honestly, I find it very satisfying. Taking big chunks of metal, warming them up, and bending them into just the right shape. That takes strength, that takes finesse, that takes experience. All of those people who would judge me and look down on me for being beast folk, they can't do what I do. My work is irreplaceable. There's not a single human blacksmith in this country who can match my work. In fact, many dwarves can't even either. I know what I'm doing, And I know that what I do provides value. So let those men at the tavern drink their drinks and laugh at my expense. You know, it used to. But something I have learned is to take value in the work that I do, in the things I create, even if other people can't see their value. This is something you may want to bring home with you when you're done serving. There is honor in providing grain for an entire kingdom. Well, even if you are not, perhaps after your assignment is complete, you go home and work as a village guard. They do need those, very desperately, especially in the smaller villages. I have learned a thing or two. You don't live in the capital without hearing rumors and reports that are perhaps unsubstantiated, but sound very true. And if the reports are anything to be believed, a lot of those smaller villages have been struggling with bandit raids. No, that's true. I do imagine the mining villages, with their silver, their gold, their jewels, would be a more attractive target to bandits than a bakery, if you will. But that doesn't diminish the value of what your village gives to all of us. I wasn't kidding. I have a loaf of bread. You see over there just on my desk. Traceable to the wheat grown in that village. Now maybe you didn't have a direct hand on it, but it's still, in a way, indirectly, value that you and your family and your village provide to all of us. Just like the value I provide in creating my armor. You can argue that one is not equal to another, but ultimately all are necessary for the greater good to survive. No, whenever a city's under siege and they are in need of resources, what do you think we airdrop into them? It's not food that's going to go bad in a day or two. Not something that needs heavy amounts of preparation, but something that will last and last. You didn't know? I thought it was common knowledge. Oh, they have entire regiments of, I believe they're crows. They carry important goods as quickly as they can to where they're needed. And they can't bring as much as a carriage could, but they can cross routes that a carriage could not. Well, if I could boast about my work just a little bit more, yes, I make armor for them as well. Custom armor has to be very flexible and very light so it doesn't interfere with their flying, but also strong enough to deflect arrows that will inevitably end up their way. You see, I know exactly what I'm doing. Oh no, it's not offensive at all. I was taken from my family when I was very young. No, not in this kingdom, no. I was taken by, believe it or not, poachers. Well, there are some who believe that a leonine mane and fangs have incredibly powerful medicinal properties. I don't believe it, but others do, and they seek to get rich. Oh, it's all right. It's been quite a long time, and I have learned to value what I am capable of, even if I don't have my family to share that with. In fact, in my opinion, I've been stronger for it. No, I do mean it. I have had my share of struggles, I'm sure all do. Because I have to measure your waist as well. How are we going to make sure that things fit properly if I can't get my hands on you and feel around for myself? Oh, shh. Well, that's what you have in mind. Perhaps you could stay a little bit after we've finished your fitting. But we do have work to attend to first, darling. Let's not get sidetracked. At least not yet. Deflecting? No, I simply know what matters more. I have come to peace and mourned my loss, and I have learned to appreciate the life I do have and not worry about the one that could have been. Yes, something that perhaps would be beneficial for a member of the Royal Guard as well. Granted, there haven't been any invasions in quite some time, but it is always a risk, and patrolling the hallways of the castle, if there ever was an assassination attempt, you would likely be one of the first to confront it. That's why I have to make sure every single nook and cranny fits perfectly. I'm sure you'd much rather a blade deflect off of your armor than pierce into your leg or somewhere a lot more vulnerable. Oh, it does happen. Oh, no. That's actually one of the great benefits I have that other blacksmiths can't replicate. They need all these tools to chisel and work the armor just right. My natural strength and claws can substitute for a lot of that equipment. Well, let's just call that my little secret for now. And since we are now finished, how long until you're due back at the castle, do you know? Perfect. So you have a little bit of time to blow off some steam. Well, we may call this place the Lion's Den, but really, the magic happens in the bedroom. If you are so interested, I'll give you a little bit of a workout and make sure you're up for returning to your post. Well, if you must go, I understand. I won't keep you any longer then. Should the need arise where you need to verify the measurements of your armor, my door is always open to members of the guard. Take care, darling. Hey, Comets. Thank you for listening to this video. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with the story so much. I had an idea somewhere along the way of wanting to do a blacksmith, and I mean, you have to take very careful measurements to make sure armor fits, right? So I made sure to include that, most definitely. But I also, I have a Tigress series. I don't have a Lioness yet. Well, I do now. So here we are. I'm leaving it open to sequels. We will see how it performs. And if I can be very blunt and boast about myself for a minute, I think it'll do well enough that it will earn a sequel. So I might already be mentally planning that out, coming up with some ideas. I will say a big thank you again to every single one of you. I appreciate it more than words could ever explain. Thank you. And I will see you next time. Bye. Mwah. Taking these medieval motorcycles